My name is Lena Crawford, and tonight I walked back into the same world that once told me I was an embarrassment. The ballroom is all glass and gold, flooded with people in evening gowns and tuxedos, the kind of crowd that pretends money is the same thing as dignity. There's a banner hanging above the stage. 30 years of Crawford Atelier, a legacy of beauty. My last name printed in 10-inch letters like it still belongs to me. It doesn't. Not anymore. My heels echo against the marble and heads turn. Some recognize me from tech articles. Most just sense the shift, the kind that says something unscripted is about to happen. At the center, my father is shaking hands, laughing too loud. My mother smiles beside him, polished as ever. My sister Clara glows under the chandelier, perfectly lit, perfectly hollow. None of them know I'm here. Not yet. 11 years ago, on my high school graduation night, they told me I wasn't good enough to be one of them. They called me a stain on their name. I left that house with a duffel bag and a promise I didn't know how to keep. They thought that was the end of me. It wasn't. That night still burns in my mind. Rain lashed against the windows of our Boston townhouse as I told them I wanted to study computer science instead of taking a position at their fashion company. My father turned from the fire, disbelief hardening into disgust. Clara laughed behind her glass of champagne. My mother stayed quiet, hands folded, eyes somewhere else. My father's words cut through the room like glass. Get out. You don't belong in this family. I packed what I could and walked into the rain. The cold hit my face like truth. I didn't know where I was going, only that I couldn't stay. San Jose became the first city that didn't ask who my parents were. I rented a studio the size of a closet, worked long hours at a startup where interns were invisible. Nights when the office emptied out, I wrote code for my own ideas. The glow of the screen was the only light that didn't judge me. I met Amelia there, a friend who believed when I didn't. She said, "You're not failing, you're processing." I clung to that. 3 years later, I built Nova Data, a platform helping small businesses manage their analytics. Investors didn't take me seriously. I collected rejections like proof I was still trying. Then Ethan Blake came along, an investor who didn't look at me like I was a risk. He asked what I'd do if the money ran out. I told him. Then I'll keep coding until it doesn't. He laughed and said, "Good answer." He backed me when no one else would. Years passed, and Nova Data thrived. My name started appearing in tech magazines, but I never let myself believe it meant I'd won. Sometimes, late at night, I'd still whisper to the dark, "Do you see me now, Dad?" Then, one Friday afternoon, an ivory envelope arrived at my office. The Crawford crest shimmered in gold. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside, an invitation to the family's 30th anniversary gala. My mother's handwriting. 11 years of silence broken by a single line of scripted grace. Amelia found me staring at it. "You're not going," she said. "I have to," I replied. Not to beg, to be seen. That night I sat by the window, city lights spilling over the bay, and decided I'd face them. I'd walk into their world not as the girl they discarded, but as the woman who built something without them. When I told Ethan, he only said, "Then go make them remember your name." The Langford Hotel in New York glittered like a temple to perfection. I wore black, sharp, simple, deliberate. It wasn't to impress. It was armor. I entered the ballroom. My father laughed among investors, my mother beside him, radiant and distant. Clara stood on stage, flawless as ever. When she began her speech, "Crawford Atelier has always been about knowing who we are." I almost laughed. The irony was suffocating. As applause filled the room, I caught Ethan's eyes across the crowd. He gave a small nod. It was time. At the bar, Clara finally noticed me. Her smile froze. "Didn't expect to see you here," she murmured. "Life's full of surprises," I said. "Still chasing your little tech dreams?" "Not chasing," I replied. "Building." Ethan joined us, greeting her politely. "Clara, we've met right. Lena's company is doing extraordinary work with AI integration." Clara blinked. "Founder." That word landed like a spark. My father saw me then. His laughter stopped. My mother turned eyes widening. I lifted my glass in a silent toast. Let them look. Later that night, Ethan pulled me aside. I found something he said. "A patent. Crawford Atelier just filed an algorithm nearly identical to yours." The air left my lungs. "You're sure it's your code, Lena?" "Only it's under your sister's name." The band struck up another song, and I walked toward the stage as if I were stepping through fire. "Excuse me," I said into the microphone. "I'd like to thank the Crawfords for showcasing my algorithm tonight." The room froze. Cameras lifted. My father's face went stone still. Ethan projected the patent onto the main screen. Same code, same name, different thief. A sharp gasp sliced through the air, then the sound of murmurs, one voice, then another, like the rustle of dry leaves before a storm. Reporters in the back raised their phones. Flashes stung my eyes, but I didn't blink. My father stepped forward, his hand gripping the podium. "This is nonsense," he said, his voice calm but trembling beneath the surface. "You can't just walk in here and I can—" I interrupted. "Because the person you're calling a visionary used my work to decorate your empire's final illusion." Clara's lips trembled. It wasn't what I asked, my tone sharper than I meant. "Wasn't theft, or wasn't supposed to get caught?" She looked toward our parents, desperate. My mother's face had gone pale, the careful elegance of her posture collapsing into something fragile. For the first time, she looked human, almost frightened. My father turned to Ethan. "You have no right to expose internal documents." "They're not internal," Ethan said coolly. "They're public filings. You tried to claim ownership of proprietary code. The timestamp says enough." The silence stretched until it became unbearable. Then someone in the crowd, an investor, cleared his throat and asked, "Mr. Crawford, is this true?" It was like watching a glass castle crack in slow motion. My father's eyes darted to the screen, then to the audience. He'd spent a lifetime commanding every room he entered, but now even his voice betrayed him. "You always wanted control," I said softly, stepping closer. "Over your company, over your daughters, over the story people told about you. But you can't control truth." My voice shook not from fear, but from years of words I'd swallowed. "You told me I didn't belong in this family because I chose a world you didn't understand. You said I'd fail without your name. But look around, Dad. Your name is collapsing under the weight of its own lies." Clara's eyes shimmered with tears, a crack running through her perfect poise. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she whispered. "I know I said. You just didn't think I mattered enough to be real." The words landed like glass shards. My mother took a step forward, then her voice barely above a whisper. "Lena, please, don't destroy us." I looked at her, and for the first time, I didn't see the woman who abandoned me. I saw someone afraid to face what she'd built her life around. "I'm not here to destroy you," I said. I'm here so the world finally sees what I survived. The screens behind me flickered the code scrolling line by line, the signature mismatch flashing red. Then from the back of the hall applause broke out. One pair of hands, then another, then a wave of sound that swallowed the tension whole. My father looked at me one last time, and I saw it a flicker of something like recognition. Maybe guilt. Maybe pride. Maybe both. I turned from the stage. The spotlight followed me for a second before fading, and the music didn't start again for a long while. As I walked through the corridor lined with mirrors, my reflection fractured into 100 versions of myself, every one of them stronger, clearer, freer. Outside, the night air hit me like absolution. The city lights shimmered across the Hudson, and for the first time since I'd left Boston, I realized what victory actually felt like. Not noise, not revenge. Peace. Clara's voice cracked. You left us. You don't get to claim I left. I said, but I never gave you permission to steal. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My father barked. Enough! I turned to him. No, enough of pretending. You tried to erase me and now you can't. The applause came slowly at first, then louder, half shock, half awe. I walked off the stage, heart pounding, every light flashing behind me. That night, the internet exploded. Crawford scandal. The clip replayed everywhere. The disowned daughter who fought back. For the first time, their world shook, and I didn't. By morning, their company's stock was collapsing. Clara's name trended for all the wrong reasons. I watched the news in silence from my hotel window, coffee cooling in my hand. When Ethan called, he said, "The board's removing her. The empire's cracking." I didn't want destruction, I murmured. Just truth. That afternoon, my father called. I almost ignored it. Almost. But I answered. His voice was smaller than I remembered. We lost sight of what mattered, he said. Come back. Help us rebuild. We met at a quiet cafe near Central Park. They looked fragile, like ghosts of the people who once towered over me. My mother whispered, "We're sorry." I stared at them for a long moment. "I'm not angry anymore," I said, "but I'm not coming back." They nodded, eyes heavy with something like regret. When I stepped out, spring wind swept down the street carrying the sound of a violinist playing something sad and sweet. I realized I wasn't angry. I was free. A week later, Nova Data signed a partnership that tripled our value. Headlines changed. They no longer called me the fallen daughter. They called me the woman who rebuilt herself. 1 year later, I stood inside Nova Data Tower on Madison Avenue. Across the street, the old Crawford Atelier sign had faded, a relic of another era. The sun poured through the windows, lighting the city gold. People ask if I forgave them. I did. Forgiveness wasn't letting them back in. It was letting myself move forward. My father once said I'd never be a real Crawford. He was right. I became something he could never control. Sometimes I still think of that stormy night of the girl walking away with nothing but a laptop and fire in her chest. She didn't know it then, but she was already building this. On the wall behind me, our motto gleamed in silver letters. Built from the fire. That's what I am. Not revenge, not ruin. Resilience. The past doesn't haunt me anymore. It built me. And that's something no one can take away.